Hey everybody, Dr. J. Bowen, and welcome back to the Jersey Regenerative channel. Over the last few weeks, my team and I have been shedding some light on various regenerative procedures. Today, we're going to be diving into one of the most talked about topics in regenerative medicine, stem cells. They've been labeled as everything from a miracle cure to controversial therapy, or even snake oil. But as always, we're going to break it down and give you the good, the bad, and the truth about stem cells for orthopedic-related issues. So let's get started. So what exactly are stem cells? Stem cells are the body's raw materials, essentially the building blocks of life. They have a unique ability to develop into many different types of cells, from muscle cells to brain cells, depending on what your body needs. What makes them so wonderful is they can either renew themselves by dividing, or they can specialize into cells that have a specific function. For example, if there's damage to your tissue, like in your knee joint after an injury, stem cells have the potential to step in and transform into the type of cell needed to repair that tissue. They play a crucial role in growth, healing, and even maintaining overall health. Now, let's talk about the FDA's role in stem cell therapies, because it's an area that's often misunderstood. The FDA, or the Food and Drug Administration, has a role to evaluate for disease transmission with treatments, and is responsible for ensuring that medications in the United States are both safe and effective. In one court case, the FDA argued that stem cells are actually drugs or medications. If, and it's a big if, stem cells are drugs, then the FDA actually would have jurisdiction to regulate them. Remember, I'm not a lawyer, I don't play one on TV or even here on YouTube. This is just a general overview. However, in a more recent case, a judge determined that the body cannot be a drug and the FDA has no role in its regulation. This may be appealed by the government and we're waiting to see. The FDA has no scope in the practice of medicine, so you may think, oh, this is scary. No one actually regulates these treatments. But it's incorrect, because each board has a state board of medical examiners that monitor these treatments. This sort of analogy is that the use of these stem cells is regulated similarly to the way conventional surgery would be regulated. In general, the FDA considers 4 factors in regards to stem cell treatments. First is minimum manipulation. This means that cells that are taken from your body cannot be grown in a lab or changed in any significant way. They can be cleaned with salt water, resized through a small filter so it makes injection easier, but they must remain in the most natural form. Second, the cells must be autologous, meaning the cells that are used in your therapy must come from you, go back to you, not from another source. This mitigates the concern for disease transmission. Third, homologous. This can have 2 potential meanings. The cells that are used must be of similar structure or function as what already exists in your body. For example, you don't find placental cells in your knee, but you do have a fat pad that exists in the knee naturally, and therefore we can use fat cells for stem cell treatments in that particular area of the body. Fourth, no additions or mixtures. This means that the cells can't be mixed with another substance or drug to create an entirely new product for treatment. To be regulatorily compliant here at NJRI, we focus on platelet-rich plasma, or PRP, bone marrow, or BMAC, and adipose, or MFAT, which were discussed in prior videos. These are minimally manipulated products that are taken from your own body. If you want to learn more about these treatments, please check out our videos. Also, during an MFAT procedure, we can take a little extra fat, and with this extra fat we can send it off for storage and processing and culture expansion that can be used at a later date. Currently, the only regulatorily compliant method to receive these culture expanded stem cells for treatment of orthopedic issues would be through the Right to Try Act that was signed in 2017. So you don't need to travel outside the country with large costs and many unknowns. If you're interested in storing your cells, give my office a call and set up a consultation. I'd love a chance to discuss this in greater detail as it relates to your specific situation. One of the challenges we face is that not all clinics follow these guidelines or regulations. There are some places that offer unregulated stem cell therapies that haven't been properly tested, which can lead to false claims and, unfortunately, real risks for patients. Additionally, many clinics offer perinatal or umbilical, amniotic, or birth tissue type products that have real risks of disease transmission. Some claim that these tissues actually have been treated to reduce this risk, but if there are any cells left at that time, they were killed in this process, leaving potentially no benefit or cells for these treatments. I'll get into this more when we talk about the bad of stem cells in part 2 of the video. This is why it's important to work with reputable clinics like New Jersey Regenerative Institute that adhere to the FDA guidelines and focus on evidence-based treatments. Alright, now let's take a step back and look at how stem cells became part of modern medicine. The concept of stem cells might seem cutting edge, but did you know they date back well over a century? So let's dive into it. The first clues about stem cells came around the late 1800s. Scientists were already starting to wonder how cells in the body could differentiate, meaning how a single cell could evolve into many different types of specialized cells, like bone cells, eye cells, skin cells. But it wasn't until the early 1900s that researchers began to seriously explore the concept of the thing we know as stem cells, as those early undifferentiated cells that could give rise to many other different types of specialized cells. Now let's fast forward to 1908, and a Russian scientist named Alexander Maximov proposed the idea of stem cells as a foundation of blood formation, laying the groundwork for what we know as hematopoietic stem cells. These are the ones that develop into all different types of cells in the blood. The next big leap happened in the 1950s and 60s. Researchers began understanding how stem cells could be used in medicine, specifically for treating blood-related conditions. In 1956, Dr. Thomas performed the first successful bone marrow transplant, a huge milestone that relied on stem cells. This procedure would later revolutionize the treatment of leukemia and other blood-related disorders. In the following decades, stem cell research continued to focus on blood and bone marrow. The discovery that bone marrow contained hematopoietic stem cells, capable of producing blood cells, became the basis for many life-saving therapies we use today. If you want to learn more about the power of bone marrow, check out my recent video on bone marrow aspirate concentrate, or BMAC. In the 1980s, Dr. Arnold Kaplan developed a term called mesenchymal stem cells and the classification for them. He later learned that he missed a few things. The precursor to these stem cells was what he called the pericyte, that lives on all the capillaries, the smallest blood vessels. So these cells are throughout your entire body, not just in one area like the bone marrow. He also realized that the cells were strongly influenced by the media that he used to grow them in the lab, or in vitro, which was not the way the cells actually act in the body, or in vivo. So in 2010, Dr. Kaplan proposed a name change, but keeping the MSC abbreviation. This would in turn represent medicinal signaling cells, which is more accurately reflecting their actual function. Another specific development came in 1998 when Dr. James Thompson at the University of Wisconsin isolated the first human embryonic stem cells. This breakthrough sparked a wave of research into how we could potentially use these cells to regenerate damaged tissue, cure chronic disease, and even slow aging. However, it also triggered ethical debates that still influence stem cell research policies today. While embryonic stem cells offer exciting possibilities, the ethical controversies surrounding their use pushed researchers to look for alternatives. This is where adult stem cells took center stage. These are the cells that we find in our own bodies, such as in fat tissue, bone marrow, and even in blood. And they offer many of the same regenerative possibilities without the same ethical concerns. Then in 2006, Dr. Shinya Yamanaka from Japan made a breakthrough discovery with induced pluripotent cells, or iPS cells. These are regular cells like skin or blood cells that scientists can reprogram to behave more like embryonic stem cells. Yamanaka's discovery earned him a Nobel Prize and opened up even more possibilities for regenerative medicine without the ethical hurdles. However, this manipulation should cause us great pause, as these changes could lead to uncontrolled or unwanted signaling, resulting in cancer, and will require even greater research and duration of monitoring for these effects or potential negative effects. Today, stem cells are being used to treat everything from orthopedic injuries, like we deal with here at NJRI, to heart disease. The focus has shifted to adult stem cells and their use of iPS cells, which are now being researched for conditions like diabetes, spinal cord injuries, and neurodegenerative diseases. While we've made incredible strides in understanding and using stem cells, we're still in the early chapters of this story. Ongoing research continues to explore how we can better harness the power of stem cells to treat a wider range of conditions. And as science evolves, so too does the potential of these amazing cells. This is where our partner organization, Data Biologics, is providing invaluable information on novel treatments and can be used as a platform for these products as they progress along the developmental pathway. Stay tuned for a live YouTube discussion with Data Biologics CEO Leah Bradell, where we will discuss the company and its role in stem cell research. We will post when this conversation will occur, so stay tuned and subscribe so you don't miss it. So there you have it, a journey from the early 1900s to the cutting edge research happening today. Stem cells have come a long way, and as science continues to evolve, their potential to revolutionize medicine is truly exciting. Stay tuned as we explore more about these cells and how they're being used in regenerative treatments in our video next Monday. While today looked a little bit different than our other videos in this series, I wanted to be sure to give you plenty of background on stem cells before I gave you the good, the bad, and the truth. Come back to our page next Monday for a few hot takes on stem cells. That's all for today, folks. Be sure to tune in next week as I get into the nitty-gritty of the good, the bad, and the truth of stem cells. With such a controversial topic, there's plenty to discuss. So please leave a comment below or on any of our social media platforms, telling us what you'd like me to address in my next video on stem cells. While we're on the subject of socials, please be sure to follow us. We're on TikTok, X, Instagram, and Facebook. Of course, our main channel is here on YouTube. If you haven't already and you've gotten this far, please be sure to smash that like button and subscribe here. It doesn't cost you anything and it really helps us out a lot, and we really appreciate it. With the holidays approaching fast, now is the perfect time to come in and get treatment for those nagging aches and pains so you can fully enjoy the most wonderful time of the year. My team and I here at NJRI would be honored to treat you. Give our office a call so we can get you in and get you on the schedule to unleash your intrinsic ability to heal. That's what we do here. Alright, that's all for me, and we'll see you next week here at NJRI channel.